Hi, I'm Justin Mitchell. I'm Lee Kreider's grandson. I'm a pre-med student at Ohio University, which is located in Athens, Ohio, which is actually the 44th stop on the Race Across America and the 5th stop in the OhioRAAM Challenge. Oh, welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, thank you, Justin Mitchell, for that introduction. Do you think that we might be proud of our grandson? I think we are. He's located down there at Time Station 44 on the Race Across America. He'll be there this summer. I hope Justin gets out and sees some of you people as he goes through. I'll tell him to wave. And this is the OhioRAAM Show, coming to you 3 times a month on the 7th, the 17th, and the 27th of each month, a show about cycling and UltraCycling. And I'm Lee Kreider, the host of the show. This is show number 139 in our 5th year of doing this show. We have our friends to thank at Time Stations 41 in Oxford, Ohio, and Time Stations 42 in Blanchester, Ohio, time stations on the Race Across America. We thank them for what they do. They have a wonderful time stations there, and we know those of you and the crews and the racers and the staff appreciate what they do. Give them a big thanks. Hey, give a big thanks to all the staff time stations along the way. These people work night and day to make the race better for all of you. Today we're having 2 people on the show. First of all, we're having Gerry Eddlemon from Knoxville, Tennessee. I am going to call Gerry the world record holder of UltraCycling records. He holds more ultra-marathon cycling records than anyone else. We recorded this show last spring. At that time, he had 99 records. Now he tells me he has 104 records, just completed several records in the state of Israel. And also on the show, we're going to have Apurv Verma, who comes from India but currently lives in Cleveland, Ohio, and you'll be hearing more about his story. I recorded these sessions last spring at the Calvin's Challenge race at the registration there. I've been asked by some people what is going to happen with Calvin's Challenge. Well, that's really Larry Graham's domain to answer that, but as far as I know, there are no plans at this time for having Calvin's Challenge in 2017. So with that, let's go talk to Gerry and Apurv there at Calvin's Challenge last spring. Go here with Gerry Eddlemon from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Is that right?
Correct. Well, I live in Knoxville now, but I grew up in Oak Ridge and worked there for 30 years.
Do you not hold more ultra-marathon cycling records than anybody?
That's what I've been told, and just looking at the listings on the UMCA website, I don't think I've seen anybody else that has that many. I have 99, so I had hoped already to have done 100. I have a fascination with numbers. Like, I hate to stop at 98.9 miles or something. I always have to go 100 if I get that close.
You aren't one of those that when they get home you circle around the lot?
Exactly. Yes, I do.
That was my wife. She says, if we just circle around a few times.
It doesn't matter if it's a 10-mile ride. If I'm at 9.8, I'll keep going around. I got to round it off to 10 or go 1 over. I usually, like, if I make it to 100, I'll go to 101, or 50, I'll go to 51, whatever.
Now, last year when we talked, you had a couple things in mind. I want to see if any of that came about. You were going to try to set a record for Denmark. Did that happen?
No, I tried, had the most abominable weather, which is a pretty good excuse.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for excuses if I fail. But even the hardy Danes, the descendants of the Vikings, they couldn't believe the weather, and they asked, if you really sure you want to try this? It was just blowing like crazy and cold rain, hard rain, and much of that for the first 101 miles, when fighting that wind for 101 miles and the rain for a large part of that, my legs just locked up in a terrible cramps, which I'm very prone to. I was willing to stop and see if I could work them out. But the Danes, my Danish crew, had borrowed their employer's van for this attempt, and they had to have it back in a reasonable time, and I wasn't going to finish in a reasonable time, so we called it. And that's I came to realize just the year before, when I tried to cross Pennsylvania, for the first time in my life, I didn't finish, that I can recall. I did not finish a race or a record attempt of any kind, including back when I was in high school as a runner. I had never failed to finish, even though it was very ugly sometimes, and I almost crawled across the finish line. This time in Pennsylvania, almost 2 years ago now, my officials called it. They just said, "That's as far as you're going." I was just going to take a break on the side of the road, but they thought I was too dangerous. It was in the mountains in southern Pennsylvania, and I was pretty wobbly. I had not had any but 40 minutes of sleep the night before because of the transportation. So this Denmark was the second time. Now it's 2 years in a row I've failed to finish, and that was a big disappointment. I did the following week. I did the 24-hour race in the Melfar Extreme 24-hour race. And
did you do that at the same time when you were over there?
Yeah, a week later. And I was glad I did that because that turned out to help win the Methuselah class, I call it, the age 70 and up of the 24-hour World Championship. So, and I finished 15th overall out of 150 of the competitors in the.
So, did you get to meet many of those wonderful Danish riders over there?
Well, I met a lot of Danish riders. They were all wonderful, as I recall. I don't know that that either one or the other might have been the world famous. I know there were some great athletes there. Most of them I just didn't know the Danes, but I found them to be among the friendliest and most helpful people I've ever met. Really enjoyed my time in Denmark and meeting real Danes. I've noticed for a few years that at least every other year or so, it seems they have an ultramarathon race there that's sanctioned by the UMCA, and I would love to go there and do that. There's always a lot of reasons sometimes I can't do it, like dollars and knees.
That can be a problem at times.
Yes.
And knees too.
Right. Both of those are significant factors in my case, particularly the knees, which talk to me whenever I get up to around 80 or to 100 miles.
Of course, the UMCA has had the cross-state, cross-country records for some time, but a few years ago, they started the capital-to-capital records. And you've done quite a few of those, haven't you?
I've done a few. In fact, that 99 records I mentioned includes, there was Washington, D.C. to Richmond, Virginia and back, and Boston to Hartford and back, Georgia State Capitol in Atlanta to Alabama State Capitol in Montgomery. Those are the ones I've done. The Atlanta to Montgomery was the most difficult of those because I wasn't well prepared. I didn't have time to prepare for it adequately, and we got lost big time all over. Even with several GPSs, they always wanted to put you on an interstate. Some of them we could not defeat. We went bicycle, and I knew more or less the routes we wanted, but when you got out there, we ended up on an Indian reservation on dirt roads and mud in my skinny road bike wheels. And that was very interesting with dogs around. And we were wandering around there for quite a while. So it's one of the slowest record attempts I've ever done. I'm not even going to mention the time.
Well, that's okay, but I thought, talking about the capital to capital, I thought maybe I might try from the Vatican to the capital of Italy, which I think about 3 miles.
I've thought of that, or no, not that one, but I've thought of like Liechtenstein.
Yes.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I think that's about 25 miles or something.
But you got to watch because Valerio Zamboni, he's going to have all those used
I
up
know.
over there.
Yes, yeah. In fact, I had been thinking for some time of going to Europe and setting some records because there weren't many UMCA records anyway, and suddenly in the last couple of years, it's just been they've been going like crazy, setting records all over the place.
Well, I watch the UMC website from time to time, seeing your name popping up there. I thought you were over 100 by now, but you won't be very long. You will be.
Well, God willing, anything can happen, but I had hoped I would have already done one. I've been trying to arrange to try for at least 4 of the 5 time trial records that are recognized by UMCA in the 70-plus age class. I call it the Methuselah class. But the logistics can be a nightmare. For my 70th birthday, it was actually 2 days later because I had to do it on a weekend. Back in September, I went for all 5 UMCA records in the certified course in eastern North Carolina, south of Fayetteville, and ran into some real serious problems with dogs, pit bulls and pit bull mixes. It seemed like since the last time I had ridden there, everybody decided to get pit bulls. It's fashion. And on 3 of the 4 legs of the 20-mile loop, there were pit bulls or mixes. I had them, at least one after me, every lap for the first 220 miles. When one of my officials was packing heat, and this is perfectly legal. He had a legal carry permit for North Carolina, and on the after 220 miles, we had a second heated discussion on what to do because one of the dogs almost went for my leg. I mean, really viciously, and fortunately, I moved my leg from the 9 o'clock to the 3 o'clock position just in time for him to hit my rear wheel very hard. And it probably took off a bit of his nose, and I never saw him again. But we were getting really concerned, and so we said the next time a dog actually looks at that it's going to attack, it's going to die. And dog lovers may not like that, but I'm a people lover more than dog lover, even though I like dogs.
Yeah, but
the interesting thing is somehow the dogs knew that, because from then on I didn't have a single dog come out.
the word got.
They never saw a gun. Or anything.
Hey, the word got out. You got to remember, Gerry, that some of those dog owners pack heat too.
We were thinking of that also. 2 of my 3 officials this was their first time officiating, and they did give, after only 258 miles, the lowest output for a 24-hour I've ever done. In other words, I didn't go 24 hours, but they called it off. I think partly because they both had health issues, and they were concerned about my health and weren't experienced with at what an ultramarathon cyclist can look like after a couple of 100 miles. They weren't used to that.
They just
called it, and that was the end of it. But I'm not sure I would have been able to go 1,000K anyway.
okay.
I could have gone 24 hours, though.
Gerry, good luck tomorrow.
I may be the only 70-year-old in it. I'm not.
I don't know, and also, you ride a titanium bike that you've had around for a while. Is that still?
It's my first modern road bike. I didn't ride until I was 59 when I retired, and I started riding a hybrid bike. My wife and I wanted to ride the greenways, so we both bought inexpensive hybrid bikes, and I have no idea how I made the transition. I cannot recall, because I remember thinking transitioning to road is suicidal. I just kept thinking of the trucks and the cars and the dogs, and I've had a lot of experiences with all of them, and maybe I was right back then, but I somehow made the transition, and it's been very rewarding. I've had some serious injuries as a result, but all in all, it's been a very rewarding, and it's good for setting your mind right after if you're down in the dumps or something. Get out there on the bike and ride, and come back feeling 100% better.
Been something.
That is the same bike. I've used the same
That's-
bike
yeah.
for 98 of those 99 records, and I've been thinking about seeing if Lightspeed wouldn't be interested in giving me a new bike.
Yeah, that'd be good advertising with
How
it.
many bikes will have 100 records if I'm successful?
Yeah, well, there's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was made in Ottawa, Tennessee, about 80 miles down the road from where I live. Yeah, I have to say that the frame and the fork are about the only parts that are original.
Well, that's what counts. So, thanks a lot, Gerry.
Well, thank you.
And,
Good to talk to you, Lee.
Good luck. We'll hope we get that 101 in pretty here quick.
I sure hope so. Yeah.
You can't have 99. That's
No,
just against your
that's
against your religion.
I've got to get 100, and frankly, I want to get quite a few more than that, because some of them, like we're in Rhode Island and Delaware, and the only reason they count is because I guess they said, well, every state counts.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Gerry.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Well, we're here with Apurv Verma, who lives now in Cleveland,
Yeah, in Cleveland.
and you came to my attention from our common friend, Divya Tata. Is it Tata? We always call it Tate here, but it's Tata, isn't it?
Yeah.
And are you from the same city? Are you from Pune?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm from Pune as well.
Divya Tata is the guru of UltraCycling in India, is she not?
Yeah, she is. She is definitely a big influence in the country. She has been the premier person to lead upfront the ultra racing in India. She has been organizing big events, which has become a product to establish a lot of a guy to do RAM in the country. RAM from India, in fact.
Yes, and I have to say, much to my disappointment, that she went ahead, even though I told her not to, and got a tattoo on her leg. And Divya, I'll never forgive you for that.
I think that looks cool.
It's all in your good taste, but it's just a joke between us.
Yeah.
So, what brought you to Cleveland, Ohio?
It's my work that brought me here, and yeah.
And so Divya said, "Do you know anybody that you could put Apurv in touch with in Ohio?" Maybe she thought that everybody in Ohio knew one another, and I said, "Well, no, they're 300 miles away, but I do know somebody, Cassie Schumacher, and so it goes." So, you've been riding with him here.
I happened to visit some stores, and I talked to the store guys about the people who are doing long distance in Cleveland. I came to know about Eric Overton.
Yes.
And he has been leading Cleveland long distance riding group. So I joined them, and I have been training with them over the weekends, past 2 months. Yeah, so that's the scene.
And Eric told me you had to learn about how to deal with cold weather.
Yeah, definitely. I was not prepared for this weather. I've never seen snow in my life. I came here and it was around minus 10 degrees Celsius, and it was really, really tough for me. And first day I went for the ride without any jacket. I didn't know about anything about this cold weather, and I was freezing. And it's been like that. I still feel the cold. Even say it's a mild winter, I don't get it.
Well, I imagine it is quite an adjustment. But as we're talking, Srini, he lived up there in the north in those glaciers, so there's cold weather in India.
Yeah, definitely. In the north part of India, it is cold.
You've been riding with him. You're here to do Calvin's Challenge.
Yeah, I've been. You're talking about my riding in India, or?
Yeah,
I've been riding long distance in India. I've done some RAM qualifiers, and
you do the cliffhanger.
Yeah, Deccan cliffhanger.
How'd you do in that?
I got runner-up. I finished second in the last edition, and this year I finished third.
Very good, very good. Well, we're just so delighted about how UltraCycling is coming on in India, largely due to people like you and Divya and the Mahajan brothers. They've really kind of brought that on, haven't they?
Yeah.
They made it acceptable.
Yes. They have brought this sport into recognition. Everyone looks up to them. And because guys like me also started looking up to Divya because she was a person who brought a lot of information about UltraCycling to us. And like for example, Paris vs Paris, PVP, this was second time Indian team went in 2015. And we followed, we got a lot of instructions and help from Divya who had done PVP in 2011. And this time 20 Indians finished PVP in 2000.
Now, were you in that?
Yeah, I was part of it.
And you finished?
Yeah, I finished in 86 hours. Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
And she told me that it's only been in the last number of years that you could really get top-end bicycles in India.
Yeah, it's been really, the growth has been phenomenal. Even like I would just mention the numbers. The number of brevet clubs, it has increased to 20 now. Earlier in 2011 there were only 4. And this has, at the same time, when the racing scene has picked up in India, there are a lot of racing happening in the country. A lot of franchise getting into to make the cycling clubs. So this has increased the marketing of bikes as well. Now we have top-end bikes in the country.
Well, I can tell you this, on the OhioRAAM Show, we get more hits out of India than any other country. And you nosed out Denmark here a while back.
Yeah. What I know, we Indians are just passionate about whatever we do.
That's quite good. So, have you got any plans other than Calvin's here? What you'd like to do?
Calvin is my first race here. I want to get into long distance racing here. My ultimate aim in US is definitely race across America. I look forward to. I'm still training and I'm in the learning process. It will take some time to gain the knowledge, understanding of the sport. So yeah, I'm learning a lot of things right now. So I look forward to how I train here.
Are you going to be helping on the Race Across America this year?
Not this year, but definitely next year I would be interested.
I'm so delighted what's happening there, and I'm glad to meet you. I'm glad we're able to make that connection for you, and we hope to see a lot more of you.
Yeah.
We hope that this year we're going to see the first Indian solo rider complete.
And really want an Indian to finish Race Across America as a solo in solo category.
He certainly has the experience.
Yes, definitely. He has some records against his name, and he has been riding and training really hard for this event. So I wish him all the very good, all the luck.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gerry. Thank you, Apurv, for being with us today. We wish you well in your further cycling adventures, and we hope you appear on some of the leaderboards that we watch here on the OhioRAAM Show. And we want to thank all of you for watching the show. We thank all of you who support the show, particularly when you see us on social media, when you give us shares and likes. Not only does this increase our viewership, but also it increases people's awareness of this wonderful sport of UltraCycling. Be sure to visit the website if you're not there already. There are links below this video to Gerry and Apurv's sites. There's some other links there that you may be interested in, and places where you can leave your comments. We thank you for all of your comments that you make. Our next show will be on January the 27th, and on that show we're going to have the EA Water for People Race Across America team. Until then, bye-bye.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.